Guys, this is not going to surprise any of you in this community, but the shooter was known to the authorities. As always, it's almost like the police are not able to and will never be able to stop crime before it happens. That's why you have to write legislation to ensure that people do not have easy access to weapons. I'm crazy, I know. But yeah, as always, say the line, Bart. He was on our radar every single time, dude. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do. 2014, 273. 2015, 336. 2016, 383. 2017, 348. 2018, 336. 2019, 417. 2020, 610. 2021, 690. 2022, 647. I've watched you cover my high school and now my college shootings. Yep, so I'm MSU and an Oxford graduate. Yep, there you go. This is, dude, this is America, where people are literally surviving high school shootings, then going to college, and then surviving college shootings. This is the only country that where this could possibly happen. It's the United States of America, baby. There's literally another mass shooting there's two a day. By the time I'm done covering this, another mass shooting is going to happen.
Again, with the breaking news overnight, the kind we always hate to bring you. You know how this is going. There's been another mass shooting in America. Now, this time it happened on the campus of Michigan State University. At least 3 people were killed and 5 more were wounded. Police say the suspect seen here during the attack is dead.
Around an hour after the shooting was first reported, police said the suspect was believed to be on foot. At 9:26 p.m., they reported a second shooting location, later confirming the incidents occurred at Berkey Hall, a social sciences building, and then at the nearby Student Union. Roughly 3 hours after the first shots were reported,
isn't it weird that this happens right after Ohio and suddenly all the media is covering MSU or just another Tuesday? Okay, guys, I need to tell you guys something, and I don't know if you're aware of this or not. I've been covering the Ohio thing pretty much since the start. I was like 3 days late to the story. The media just doesn't care. Like, they will never cover Ohio unless it becomes like a big stink. You know, Lizzo tweeting about it and shit is probably going to cause the media to like maybe cover it a little bit. But like, there doesn't need to be a conspiracy. Well, there is a conspiracy, and I don't mean like a conspiracy theory. I mean a conspiracy in the sense that like the media is conspiring all the time to defend capital interests, but that conspiracy is capitalism. Things like train derailments happen all the time. Chemicals are being dumped into your natural water supply all the time. Wells are being poisoned all the time due to poultry factories and the runoff, due to DuPont chemicals, due to all matter of manufacturing, that they basically do this regularly. You're being poisoned regularly, non-fucking stop. The reason why you don't hear about it, or like, for example, child slavery, child labor that's happening in Alabama Hyundai facilities. Why don't you hear about it all that much? Because this would, make the companies look bad. And the media is also, run by these companies. They get money from these major corporations. So they rarely ever talk about it. So they don't need a fucking reason to be like, ooh, they're trying to distract us. No, you're just waking up to the reality for the first time ever. When you see what the fuck happened in Ohio, you go, what the fuck is going on? That's normal. It happens regularly. Just like the weather balloons that are being popped by the DOD right now. There's unidentified objects that the military shoots down all the fucking time. Most of them are like weather balloons and shit, if they even care about it. It's not that surprising. They usually don't even shoot it down. They just let it go.
And welcome back, everybody. We are learning more about last night's shootings on MSU's campus that left 3 students dead, 5 others are critically wounded, and we have learned who's behind the attacks. Fox 2's Jessica Dupnack, live in East Lansing. Jess.
Apparently, this is there's new developments on this. Classes are canceled for the week now, not just for 2 days. For the record, for those of you, there's new information on this.
You're just doing a great job. I know it's been a really long night, long morning for you.
Yeah, and really this is a testament not to the media, but really to the law enforcement and the medical professionals that have been literally up all night. Now, we got an indication from Michigan State Police what it looked like on the ground when that call went out shortly after 8 o'clock. Let's take a listen to the Deputy Chief of Michigan State University Police.
There was a absolutely overwhelming police.
Yeah, he was on the radar of law enforcement, dude. What do you expect? Bro, their radar is He's always on the radar. Every guy is on the radar. It's so odd because we have laws supposedly around this shit, whether it be of some semblance of red flag laws. It's supposed to be illegal if you are a domestic abuser, for example, to own a gun, but it just never works. It just,
Police response to that initial call. We had officers in that building within minutes, and in that building.
Wait, never mind. Michigan does not require background checks for long guns, have a red flag law, disarm domestic abusers, restrict assault weapons, limit magazine capacity, or regulate open carry. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's crazy too, because when it comes to violating the Fourth Amendment, the Supreme Court is like, oh, fuck yeah. When it comes down to protecting abortion, protecting straight up regular medical procedures that you may want to get as a whole as adult, the Supreme Court will never defend you. Let's say in the perfect world, state legislatures are all blue, okay, across the board. Both the House and the fucking Senate inside of the states are, let's say, deep blue. And they decide to do what Republicans do all the fucking time and genuinely push for this kind of thing. You bet your fucking ass that would be elevated to the Supreme Court so goddamn fast in violation of the the Second Amendment, and it'd be struck down so quickly, dude. Holy fuck, don't even think about it. You know what I mean? People are very brain broken about this. About half of adults say there would be fewer mass shootings if it was harder for people to obtain guns legally, while about as many either say this would make no difference or that there would be more mass shootings. 9% say there would be more mass shootings if there were less guns on the streets. 42% say that it wouldn't make a difference. That is just objectively untrue. So I don't know what to fucking say about it. It's like asking Americans, do you think... Fuck, I don't even know what else would be so obvious. Brother, this is not an opinion, okay? It is just an objective fact. It's like asking Americans, thank you, that's one chatter said it. It's like asking Americans, 42% of Americans don't think smoking causes cancer. I don't care that 42% of Americans think that. They're just wrong. They're objectively wrong. 42% of Americans don't think that smoking increases the likelihood that you could have lung cancer, and 9% of Americans actually think smoking is better for your lungs. You just basically said that to me. You can get at least 30% of Americans to just advocate for the silliest shit, just objectively untrue shit.
But sort of rewinding back to last night, being here really throughout the night, just an amazing law enforcement response here. Hundreds of officers from across the state ascended here in East Lansing. It was that response and really a testament to the students and the folks here in the East Lansing area. It was a tip that led to the shooter. As police moved in on the shooter, he, of course, as we've been reported, shot himself. Send it back to you guys.
Hey, Jessica, a question for you. As we were listening to police scanner traffic last night and calls were coming in fast and furious of reports of gunfire, reports of somebody banging on a door, how does law enforcement create a perimeter, or how do they sweep all these buildings? We know there are hundreds of buildings on campus, and some of these old buildings filled with all kinds of nooks and crannies. So what is the approach when it comes to searching for a gunman on the loose in such a vast area?
The sad part about all of this is these officers are extremely well trained in searching for shooters because it has become so common.
Bro, they're so well trained in searching for shooters that they couldn't find him, apparently, where he was walking around fucking campus. And also on top of that, there is never a fucking, I guess the campus is really big, but there's never a moment where local news won't use any fucking instance to just do propaganda. Literally, it's they hit a couple buttons, okay? First button they hit is thoughts and prayers. Nobody knows how we could have avoided this. Thoughts and prayers is all we got. And then the second button they hit is thank God for our police, our boys in the blue. It's almost every single one of these fucking mass shootings literally always ends when the shooter decides to end it or an unarmed person tries to apprehend the shooter. It's never the cops that come in. I want the cops to come in and actually fucking stop it. That'd be great. That's what we pay them to do, The media plays a gigantic role in making it seem like cops are always fucking, doing everything they can, and they do such a great job and they always find the shooter. It's but they never do. They never do. And I don't understand it. Like, I don't know why the media, I mean, I do know why the media runs with that narrative. They have to. It's just like another arm of capital.
I'm in place. This is regular part of police training. I know we talked to Sheriff Michael Bouchard yesterday, last night, and he was sending all his resources up there, thermal drones to search for a suspect. But really, I think in this situation, what helped is just having an immense police presence on the ground.
What do you mean? They found the shooter after he shot himself, Lowell? Exactly. That's always how it works.
Scouring, looking, and not to mention, and I have to give it to Michigan State University Police, and I've yet to see something like this. They were so quick to get a suspect picture out, keep the media informed, and it was all over social media. That image we saw, the shooter with the red shoes and the hat and the jean jacket, and it was ultimately someone who spotted the shooter, called police, and they moved in. But a terrifying 4 hours. Again, I don't need to tell you, but just a terrifying 4 hours here in and around campus.
That's not what happened. They made contact with the shooter and then he shot himself. Yeah. He's done with the shooting. He's done the mass shooting. He's done with the shooting. He runs away. Cops come up and he kills himself. That is the most common thing that happens in almost every single mass shooting. Even with like armed retaliation from good guys with guns, it's still incredibly rare for a mass shooter to be apprehended or taken down before they actually end up shooting and killing people. It just doesn't happen. Obviously, that's a highly unlikely scenario anyway in the real world, because the real world's not like fucking movies, right? I get that. Which is why I advocate for more gun control, because like I understand, even after Uvalde, I said this. I get the fear that people have in not wanting to throw their bodies at the fucking problem, which is why you have to make it easier. You know what I mean? You have to make it easier for human beings to at least have like a better sense of control over a situation. But in a country where there are more guns in circulation than there are people, it's like impossible. The gun control argument is literally a pro-cop argument when you think about it. Even though a lot of these fucking dickheads are super, super pro-gun themselves, they just don't realize that, like, yeah, it's better for everyone if there was more control over weapons and how they circulate.
Search warrant. Reportedly, there was a search performed on a residence last night. Was that the shooter's residence? Do we know? What do we know about that?
Gun control is a dangerous precedent which opens road for government tyranny, says Toddick's middle nut. So this is always the funniest fucking take from people, because it's like, bro, we live under a tyrannical administration already. You're just stupid enough not to recognize it. What do you mean? What more tyranny is the government going to do? Are they going to come to your home and like forcibly make you queer or something? Is that what you think is government tyranny? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You think the American government gives a shit about you? You think the American government is doing good things in general? No. You're just dumb and think that it's fine. Everything is all right because you can get your jalapeno poppers at Applebee's. And on top of that, like, there are probably less tyrannical and more free people around the world where they have less weapons in circulation. I would say that it's tyrannical to paywall healthcare. It's tyrannical to jail people who are addicted to drugs. It's tyrannical to have the highest prisoner population per capita. That's a police state. That's a prison state. That's the state that we live in. There are countries with far lower prisoner per capita numbers. There are countries where the government at least like takes care of their health problems. Those are infinitely less tyrannical nations, just objectively so. And yet they don't have guns. It's crazy to me that we think like, oh man, America could become a tyrannical government. It's like, bro, what do you mean? I think it's fucking personally tyrannical that we got kids who have survived 2 mass shootings in a row. That's pretty tyrannical. That the government doesn't do shit about that, that's wild.
The brilliant work that police have done out there and just how many officers, how wide of a scale this was.
I say this as someone who also loves shooting guns. Like I don't have a problem with guns. I don't have an issue with guns. I like shooting guns. They're fun, okay? But they're very dangerous. I mean, it's not like I hide that, by the way. You know, I've done it on stream.
Not only are police looking for the shooter, they're also having to sift through all of the rumors and all of that. And then, you know, you can't not check it, because that could be the tip that leads to the shooter. So it's an incredible job by law enforcement last night. And
the scanner audio as they approached him. Oh, what does Intel Doge say?
Gonna reroute you. We got a person on the line saying they saw the subject matching the shooter's description on High Street near McDonald's near Lake Lansing. Okay, clear on that. 1136, just be advised. Dave Boston also heading in that area. 1553 North High, black male, jean jacket, black pants, red shoes, walking Lake Lansing on High Street. Again, matches with shooter description.
Westbound from High Street on Lake Lansing. He's going westbound here on the south side of the road. Yeah, he's coming westbound Lake Lansing. We're trying to make contact, looks like.
13, subject is shot himself. We need medics here now.
I've never understood praising cops for doing their job, and in some cases not even doing that. Showing up in the aftermath of a mass shooting is useless. They're dead. I mean, there are instances where cops, first of all, I think we should praise cops for doing their jobs correctly, because in most instances they don't even fucking do that. So unfortunately it is what it is. But in a nation where cops rarely ever do their jobs right, like sometimes it is at least good that they are doing it. Does that make sense? Because they don't do it. Anyway, let's talk about this.
So the reason I'm making this video right now is because it is almost 1 a.m. and I am currently directly across the street from where the shootings at Michigan State occurred. I am 21 years old, and this is the second mass shooting that I have now lived through. 10 years and 2 months ago, I survived the Sandy Hook shooting. And when I was crouched in the corner in school in Newtown, Connecticut on 12/14/12, I was hunched in the corner with my classmates for so long that I actually got a PTSD fracture in my L4 and L5 in my right lower back. I now have a full-blown PTSD fracture that flares up anytime I am in a stressful situation or anything occurs that's aggressive like that. The fact that this is the second mass shooting that I have now lived through is incomprehensible. My heart goes out to all the families and the friends of the victims of this Michigan State shooting. But we can no longer just provide love and prayers. It needs to be legislation. It needs to be action. It's not okay. We can no longer allow this to happen. We can no longer be complacent. I'll forever be Sandy Hook strong and forever be Spartan strong. So the reason
What do you say to that? Here are the updates, okay? At least 3 people have died and 5 others were injured in a shooting at Michigan State University in East Lansing Monday night. The suspect has died, killed himself after, cops found him. ABC News is reporting on a confidential law enforcement briefing saying that investigators have determined the suspect is 43-year-old Anthony McRae, and he had no connection to either Michigan State University or any of the victims. They also say he walked from his home to the school, I guess. It's like 4 miles away. According to ABC Investigate, because they found him like 4 miles away, relatively close to his house. According to ABC, investigators say McRae had psychiatric issues, and they found a 3-page document expressing his reasons for the attack in a number of additional locations in Lansing and Holt, Michigan, Ewing Township, and Franklin Park, New Jersey, and Colorado Springs, which had hurted him, therefore deserving of attack. ABC is reporting that agents believe personal grievances with people at those locations are the reasons why they were mentioned in the writing. No access to fucking healthcare, easy access to guns, let it rip. And in an abhorrently violent culture in the United States of America, let it rip, dude. It's a fucking powder keg. It's just like, oh, here comes it's mental illness, not guns argument. But there is. That is an issue too. But it's not like the motherfuckers that say it's the mental illness, not the guns, do anything about the mental illness either. They just do it as a quick counter to deflect away. It's so fucking insane. This country is just completely insane, dude. We have all the issues, so you can point to any of them. You can point to poverty. You can point to the remnants of an abhorrently violent culture as a consequence of our imperialist bloodshed that we conduct, the way that we conduct ourselves overseas, the way that we have normalized that violence, the way that violence has come back home. It's like the fucking assholes who always say, oh, what about our homeless veterans? Every time immigration comes up, they're like, we're not even taking care of our homeless veterans. It's like every other day of the week you spit on them, dude. That's the one time you bring homeless veterans up, is to use them as a talking point against immigrants. It's not like other countries don't have mentally ill people. It's not like America doesn't have an overwhelming majority of mentally ill people that don't do violent shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's mentally ill people here. There's mentally ill people everywhere. You think other countries don't have people with any kind of schizophrenic attack or whatever? No, it happens. It's just that there's one factor in these other countries, and that's just they can't easily get a weapon. If you want to say mental illness is a problem or whatever, it's like, yeah, don't let people who are mentally ill get guns. And you might get mad at me for that, but I think it's objectively good. If you're depressed even, you should not have a gun. There are plenty of depressed people in here, former veterans even, with like crippling PTSD, that will tell you that that is objectively the correct thing. If you're that desperate to shoot, you can go to the fucking range. If you are severely mentally ill and you have a weapon, you are a harm to yourself, first and foremost, and others around you, of course, but definitely to yourself. You can get mad at me for saying that, but it's just objectively true. My brother-in-law was an Iraq vet with combat-based PTSD, shot himself. There you go. If you have severe PTSD, if you have, chronic depression and you own a gun, it's just like you're really reducing the odds of survival there. You know what I mean? And I'm using depression because most of the time people who have depression are not even harming other people. They're just harming themselves, right? So even if it's just you saving yourself from yourself, it's the right thing. The fact that we don't do the mental health evaluations before we allow everybody to have a gun is insane. You can't say mental health is a problem in this country, not the guns, and then turn around and block every bill that would ever suggest a mental health evaluation before you can fucking use a gun. I have never understood why people think that it is crazy that we do not at least have the same level of restrictions in firearm ownership as we do for driver's licenses. I will never understand that. It is such a wild thing. That's unconstitutional. Man, you can fuck and suck me from the back, okay? I fuck the Constitution. I wipe my ass with the Constitution. It's a fucking piece of paper, dude. Motherfuck the Constitution and motherfuck this country.
And then wants us to sing God Bless America? No. Not God Bless America. God damn America.
That shit's so dumb. They did have licensing requirements for decades. They got rid of them. Yeah, I know. It's stupid as fuck. Where do you draw the line, though? What level of mental illness prevents someone from getting a gun? ADHD, autism, anxiety? I don't fucking know. You can leave that up to medical professionals, okay? Don't ask me. But fuck it, YOLO, all. How about that? If you have ADHD and I see you complaining about it on Twitter, you can't have a gun anymore. How about that? Is that good? As someone with ADHD, okay, myself, if I hear you fucking talking about how hard life is or life is a struggle or whatever, boom, you're done. No guns for you. Just because you're being annoying. You'll misplace it. You'll lose it. I lose shit all the time, man. If you have either 5 tweets a week or 1,000 karma on Reddit, no gun for you, I'm on board. I have more than 1,000 karma on credit, I am ashamed to admit, and I tweet way more. I should not have a gun. Where do you draw the line at blood alcohol levels? It's different for different people. Therefore, we can't have any checks on blood alcohol levels. Yeah. Anyway, the briefing said the subject claimed in his letter that he's the leader of a group who would pursue his agenda on his behalf, and the FBI has yet to gather information confirming any threat to the listed locations or involvement from other parties. According to the ABC, investigators are saying the writings confirm McRae was often alone and that the gunman viewed himself as a loner and an outcast who was never noticed or accepted by others. ABC reports McRae lived with his father, who was cooperating with the investigation. President Joe Biden has finally issued his first remarks on the shooting at MSU, speaking at the National Association of Counties. This is what he had to say.
Before I begin, I want to take a moment to say our hearts are with the students and the families of Michigan State University. Last night I spoke with Governor Whitmer, and
I got a lot of thoughts, Jack, and I got a lot of prayers. I'm going to go pee. I'll be back in a second.
The state and local folks, and
you don't understand.
5 seriously injured. And it's a family's worst nightmare. It's happening far too often in this country. Far too often. While we gather more information, there's one thing we do know to be true. We have to do something to stop gun violence ripping apart our communities.
Yeah. But, not going to happen. But why is he holding a mic with 2 mics in front of him? I don't fucking know. Police say there will not be another press briefing today. Family members confirmed that 19-year-old Ariel Diamond Anderson and 20-year-old Brian Frazier were killed in a mass shooting at Michigan State University. Both were graduates of the Grosse Pointe public school system. Anderson's family tells us she loved children and wanted to be a pediatrician one day. Fuck, man. 7, Action News reporter Peter Maxwell caught up with the neighbors who lived near the 43-year-old suspect. His home, which is only located about 4 miles from Michigan State's campus on Howell Street in Lansing, was raided by police early Tuesday morning. I watched them all pull up. I've never seen anything like this. This entire street was filled. Bomb squad, SWAT vehicles, the neighbor said. Here, let's take a look at the interview.
The suspect was found with a note in his pocket indicating a threat to 2 New Jersey schools. Now, this house, the suspect's house, is only about 4 miles away from Michigan State University's campus and only about a half a mile from where the suspect took his own life. And neighbors tell me they're in disbelief.
This entire street was filled. You know, like I said, bomb squads, SWAT vehicles. They made forced entry in full riot gear at about 4:30 in the morning.
Neighbors tell me the father, Mike McCrae, was a kind man who knew all of his neighbors and would check in on them.
I knew Michael just from, being neighborly, and, he makes a point of visiting with everybody and, talking and stopping and waving, and, he'll give you some advice or tell you, give you a Bible verse or something of that nature.
Neighbors say they would occasionally see Anthony in the summertime target practicing in the backyard.
It's weird. I don't know. It's kind of scary. So knowing he could have been here doing the same thing that he was doing out there, it's crazy.
Did you ever hear gunshots coming from over here or anything like that?
Yeah, throughout the summer there was random gunshots once in a while, yeah.
MSU police said they appreciate the community's patience as they're working on recovering items left in Berkeley Hall in the Union. They hope to return the items to their rightful owners. One of the 3 victims killed in the mass shooting at Michigan State University Monday evening has been identified as Alexandria Werner. According to a letter sent to the families of Clawson Public Schools, Werner was a 2020 graduate of Clawson High School. Alex was and is incredibly loved by everyone.
And it's topping our newscast at noon. The identity of one of the 3 victims shot and killed at MSU's campus last night. The Clawson School District sent a letter to its families informing them that one of the 3 students killed was a 2020 graduate of Clawson High School. She was identified as Alexandria Werner, who went by Alex. The letter describes Alex as incredibly loved by everyone. She was a tremendous student, athlete, leader, and exemplified kindness every day of her life. The letter goes on to say, if you knew her, you loved her, and we will forever remember the lasting impact she had on all of us. The school has a crisis response team available to help her former classmates cope.
I don't get it. I don't understand how the media covers this every fucking day. And one of the first points that they should immediately go to at this stage, every single time this happens, is just that it should not be happening. And we should be looking for ways to legislate away this problem. And that is completely outside of the bounds of reason for everyone. It's just thoughts and prayers. That's it. And the more it happens, the more people are getting used to it. Here's the doctor.
I can confirm that last evening we cared for 5 individuals who were brought to Sparrow Hospital.
I'm an MSU student. You never think it will happen to you until it does. The scariest night of my life by far. I no longer feel safe on my campus. I went home as soon as I could. Yeah, there are chatters in here that have survived not 1 but 2 school shootings at this point. It's going to happen. It's normal. It shouldn't be. But unfortunately, it is.
The team was led by our emergency department physicians, again with our trauma surgeons, but can't forget we had general surgeons, cardiothoracic surgeons, neurosurgeons. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night, sorry. So many people that just came in. We received a lot of texts that were just, I'm on my way. Just within people showing up, where do you need me? It was a sad but very proud night for all of us here. So I can't speak to anything about the identity of the individuals, but I'm sure we'll have some time for questions afterwards. But again, everyone is in critical condition at this time, but actively being cared for by our team at Sparrow. So.
Good Morning America talked to a Michigan State student who said he heard the gunman shoot inside his classroom at least 4 times. Says 2 students in the class were injured during the shooting.
Some really terrifying and Heartbreaking accounts are coming from students there this morning. Good Morning America spoke with one student who actually heard gunshots outside of his classroom before the gunman entered his classroom. Take a listen.
Yeah, so I was in class. It was about 8:15, and I heard a gunshot right outside in the hallway. I was sitting right next to the door, and thankfully, right when I heard that gunshot, I booked it to the far corner of the room, and then ducked and covered behind some seats. But then right after that gunshot, the shooter came in our room and shot 3 to 4 times, and I'm pretty sure he hit two students in our classroom. I didn't see anything. I didn't see what he looked like or anything like that because I was hiding. But yeah, once he shot those rounds, we waited about 30 seconds to a minute, and it was silent. So we started breaking open one of the windows. And while we were doing that, one of the students in our classroom, I'm not too sure who he was, but he was looking for like a t-shirt or something to help one of the students who must have gotten shot. And then, yeah, once the window was open, me and 4 other people, and I'm assuming, I sure hope the rest of the class, we booked it out the window.
An absolutely harrowing ordeal. That was Dominic Malotky.
It's odd, but like while this is happening, here are a couple things that are happening behind the scenes, right? One, gun sales and ammo sales are going to go up all around the country. So that's number one, because that's what always happens in the aftermath of mass shootings. So remember that. The gun lobby loves mass shootings. They're like, oh, fuck, we're going to sell more guns because people are afraid that like the government's going to come and take your guns away. And on top of that, the other thing that's happening is the active initiatives that state legislatures are passing to like make it easier to bring guns to college campuses and other places. Like there are states in the United States of America where, you know, there are no gun-free zones, for example. Just, I don't know. Yeah. Open carry on college campuses, baby. Who cares? In Georgia, you can legally carry on campus except classrooms, libraries, and offices. A mass shooter is technically not breaking the law until they bring him to class. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Seems normal. A reminder when Republicans inevitably blame mental health for the shooting at Michigan State. School-based mental health services. 205 names on the Republicans. And you can turn around and act like he wasn't even part of the school. It doesn't matter that the guy wasn't a part of the school. Before you fucking lose your mind and try to hyper-focus on, oh my God, dude. You're so fucking stupid. It is so pedantic. It's so idiotic to laser in on that, like as though there are adequate mental health programs and treatments that the Republicans have advocated for and have pushed for throughout history, that this one instance is like a one unique one. Time and time and time again, Republicans and Democrats both, if we're being 100%, have prevented measures from passing